K-12 CareerBoost initiative by the Instruct Pathways Youth Foundation continues with the lecture on cybersecurity by Mr. Daniel, while we had two expert speakers share insights on their respective topics on SDGs. The sessions were anchored by our moderator, Akin Success. Now, let's dive into the lectures.
Hello and welcome back to the cybersecurity series provided by Instruct Pathway Youth Foundation. Instruct Pathway Youth Foundation. My name is Daniel Inwa Peregrine Chilgard online, and now this is the second of the 10th series that we're going to have on introduction to cybersecurity and how to protect yourself as a professional and also as a person, as a human being who uses the internet. Today we are going to look at basic cybersecurity concepts, and without further ado, let's get into it. Now, today's objective is to learn about cyber threats and to know how they exploit vulnerabilities. Now we're also going to provide you with a solid understanding of different types of cyber threats, different types of vulnerabilities, and how they work and how they also affect the systems. By the end of this session, you should be able to identify various cyber threats around you. You should be able to understand how attackers, how cyber criminals, how cyber investigators exploit vulnerabilities, and you will recognize the consequences of these attacks. Now, what we're going to look at is basically three things. Well, three basic things, but very important one, and we might not even have time to complete this. So we're going to look at the types of cyber threats, the vulnerabilities. We're going to look at some case studies. As I've mentioned in the last class. We're also going to do NMAP, Kali's NMAP. Now let's get into it. What are threats? I've mentioned what threats are, so put it on the comment box as you're listening and watching. Threats are potential dangers that can cause harm to my assets, to anything that I hold as important, which is my assets. Now, some of these assets can be my information, my passwords, my operations, my systems. Now let me talk in a way from the military side, from the paramilitary side, from the security side. A threat, as an intelligence analyst, I will say a threat is any kind of potential danger that will harm my assets. Some of these assets will include the information I hold, the information my partners hold, information my office holds, information my confidential informants hold, the information my targets hold, information inside the head of my targets, information inside the people I work. When I mean the people I work, the people I turn to informants, the people I befriend for information. Now, it also means that these are potential dangers to my operation. Any operation that is taking place on the surface of the earth has a threat. On the surface of the universe now has a threat. So, for example, I am having an operation on a gang warehouse. I have to keep that information secure, or my systems, the systems we use, from the things like the EOTech on our assault rifles, to the computers we use, to the watches we use, to the tactical watches, to tactical map parts we have, or our squad leaders have, or the ones in the talks, the tactical operations center, or the ones in the security operations centers, which is TOC and SOC. So any of these things have threats, and they can take various forms. They include natural disasters, of course, which is the most, well, I won't say the most dangerous. They are the most dangerous ones, but they are the ones that you can or may not stop it. You can only avert it a bit. Now, human errors are also, well, when I say natural disasters are the worst ones, that's because we have no control over it. But human errors, we have control over it, but they are the most exploitable. They are the most exploitable in this sense. They are the most exploited and the most dangerous, because natural disasters can be predicted. We will know the extent of the damage, but human error, oh, tell me, one human error can cost a lot of billions, trillions of dollars, trillions of nairas, trillions of whatever currency you want to talk about. Physical attack also, intentional malicious activity is also a threat. Now, cyber threats are specific to the digital world, to the digital environment, to the cyberspace, the cyber landscape, and they involve use of computers, networks, and information systems to compromise any kind of data you have, to disrupt your services like DOS do or DDoS do, or to steal any kind of information, sensitive or non-sensitive information, as they can be important to the people who steal them. Cyber threats can target an individual, a sole individual. It can target a group of people. It can target organizations, and it can even target critical infrastructure. When I mean critical infrastructure, from hospitals to police stations to data centers, to specific government buildings, to specific NGO buildings, to specific buildings that are called critical. So schools which hold soft targets like children are called, they can be classified under critical infrastructure. Hospitals. Now, cyber threat can also target, well, it can also pose significant risk to privacy. It can target your privacy, my privacy. It can also target my security, and it can also target business operations. Apart from that, as we know, they come in various forms, and it's important to know the most common ones. I will not tell you the I will not and cannot tell you all the different types of cyber threats, because even I'm still looking for some forms. Every day someone is looking for forms of cyber threats in which they can attack vectors. They are looking for attack vectors in which they can attack people. Now, we have some key types. One is malware, which is the malicious software. It refers to any kind of software that is intentionally designed to cause harm. So what people call virus is also called, what people call virus can be interchangeably called malware, but be careful of what you call it. When it comes to some disciplines, they will think you are not understanding yourself, because malware and virus can be different, but they can also not be different. Now, virus, if they are self-replicating virus, this is the meaning of virus. As I've said, some people will say virus is any kind of software that is intentionally created to cause harm, to create problems. But a virus is this is the real definition of a virus. It's a replicating program that attach itself to clean the file, a file or multiple files, and to spread through networks. It often causes damage to systems, or it corrupts the files, or it collects information, or it just uses your data and just disrupts your well-being. Worms. Unlike viruses, worms will spread without user interaction. Viruses spread through networks. It can be with or without the user interaction, but mostly through user interaction. But worms spread without user interaction. They move across systems and the network on their own. Just the term worm or worms came about when the people looked at how worms behave. Worms can sniggle through almost anything, so that is what it moves. That's why they call it worms. Now, Trojan, if you have read about the people of Troy, you know what a Trojan is. A Trojan is a spy, or is anything disguised as something else. Now, in cybersecurity or information security or IT in general, a Trojan is any malicious program that can disguise itself as a legitimate software, so that it will trick the user or to users to install it into the system. Once it has been installed, it will steal data or allow remote access. So once this Trojan is installed, it can allow the hacker to control your system the way you see it. He or she or them will be able to control your system through remote access and can steal your data. It can remain dormant. It can just cause a lot of problems for you, from high severity to low severity. Now, spyware is one that, as the name implies, spy, information stealer. Spyware. This is a program, malicious code that secretly records what a user does. From keyloggers. Keylogger is also part of these threats, cyber threats. Spyware can involve a keylogger. It can also not involve a keylogger. Ransomware. This is the second time we're talking about ransomware. We talked about the 2017 WannaCry ransomware. It's a software that encrypts the victim's files and demands payment to restore access. The rise of ransomware attacks on hospitals, companies, and individuals have increased by a lot of numbers, more than 100%, more than 200% over the last 8 years, over the last 10 years. Ransomware attacks have increased. It's becoming the forte of the criminal world. Now, the real world example which I mentioned, WannaCry. This ransomware attack exploited a vulnerability in Windows system. It encrypted the data and demanded ransom payment in Bitcoin, which is a cryptocurrency. It also affected many institutions globally, including United Kingdom's National Health Services. But let me just explain to you how it happened. Before that, I'll just explain how the WannaCry happened. Firstly, it happened in May 2017. May 2017. It exploited a vulnerability in Microsoft Windows. The vulnerability is called Eternal Blue, which was a tool believed to have been developed by the NSA, which is the National Security Agency of the United States, and later leaked by the shadow brokers which is a hacker group. So this whole thing was just WannaCry, the WannaCry ransomware attack that happened in May 2017, that it caused headlines on major newspapers, even minor newspapers. It's because it exploited a Microsoft vulnerability called Eternal Blue, and this vulnerability was believed to have been created by the National Security Agency of the United States, a spy agency focusing on cybersecurity, anything that has to do with electronics for the United States government. Now, the people who stole this from the supposed creators, which is the NSA, were called shadow brokers. It's a hacker group. You'll know more about hacker group as you go on cybersecurity world, or hacker groups, or APTs, advanced persistent threats. Now, this attack worked by encrypting users' files and demanding a ransom payment so that they'll in Bitcoin, so that they'll be able to unlock it. It spread rapidly across networks and particularly targeted systems that haven't installed a critical security patch. Microsoft had released the security patch 2 months ago, two months earlier than this attack happened, and the security patch was MS17-010. I repeat, Mike Sierra 17-010. This also, let me pause here and tell you that this has also given you an insight on why you need to update your devices immediately. Now, the attack affected organizations worldwide. Those include some of the organizations that it targeted was hospitals, banks, businesses, and it caused significant disruption. And yes, in Nigeria, it also affected Nigeria. And the ransomware attack of May 2017 affected Nigeria, but not as severe as other countries. The attack caused disruptions in the sectors of 1. Financial institutions, 2. Government agencies, 3. Businesses. These are the places it occurred on. It did not majorly target the WannaCry, did not majorly target people during the May 2017, but businesses. Okay, now we're going to look at some common types of malware. Before we look at the common types of malware, still on the WannaCry, first they did vulnerability exploitation. That's the first step they did. The attackers, they exploited the Eternal Blue and they spread the infection. Once one computer was affected, the ransomware had worm on it. As you can see now, as I'm explaining this, you'll be able to get that some malwares work together, some malwares are all together. When someone talks about WannaCry here, I hope you can see WannaCry here. Yes, WannaCry here. It also had what? A worm in it. It also had worm characteristics. It spread through the network to other vulnerable systems that have not updated their Microsoft server or their Microsoft computers, using the SMB protocol, the server message block protocol. Now, it also, after gaining the access to these computers, it encrypted itself using strong algorithms, and then it asked for ransom. And then the worm itself, the worm-like nature of WannaCry, allowed it to spread through all over the world. It jumped and jumped and jumped. Microsoft had to had to inform people that were not affected to update their systems so that they will not be affected. But still, after the attack, security teams worldwide scrambled to apply the patch and protect their systems. But then additionally, a security researcher accidentally activated a kill switch that slowed down the attack spread. So now, how we can prevent this kind of attacks is that we should apply security patches immediately, security updates immediately. We should also use updated operating system. We should also employ robust network defenses to block vulnerabilities like SMBs. SMB is a protocol, but there are some vulnerabilities in some of these protocols. Now, most common types of malware, we have adware, which is advertisement malware. It serves unwanted advertisements. We have spyware, which collects user activity data without the knowledge. An example of an adware is Fireball. An example of a spyware is Pegasus. An example of ransomware, which is to disable victims' access to data until ransom is paid, is WannaCry. And as I've told you before, some of these malware are together, or some of the malware are not just one type. A ransomware can also have Trojan in itself. So it might also have keylogger, it might also have rootkit, it might also have adware and spyware. Now, malware, it makes changes to files that are native to the OS. It goes directly and attacks operating system files. An example is Astaroth, and Trojan disguises itself as a desirable code. Emotet is one of the common example. Worm, you have Stuxnet. Rootkits, are malwares or malware that give hackers remote control over a victim's device. We have Zachinio. Keyloggers monitor the user using keystroke. So any keystroke you type, Zachinio or Ardamax or any of the example of keylogger will be able to get that keystroke. Mobile malware is specifically for mobile. It's a malware specifically for mobile. Triada is an example of that. And then bots. Lastly, bots. This launches a broad flood of attacks. EcoBot is an example of bots. Next, we are going to go to phishing. Phishing is a type of social engineering attack where attackers send deceptive mails or messages to trick users into giving up information like passwords or credit card numbers, or in our own Nigerian case here, not credit card numbers, but then our bank verification number, ID number, our work ID number, our own ID number. Yes, of course. Just any kind of information they will trick you into. And questionnaire is one of the most common vector for phishing. There are some kinds of phishing called various kind of phishing. One of them is called smishing. One of them is voice phishing. Some can be called spear phishing, which it will be for targeted people, for specific people or specific number of people. While whaling is targeting is spear phishing, but for people in high level executives in a company. We also have ransomware. I've mentioned ransomware 3 times now. This is the reason I'm mentioning ransomware is because of the emphasis of its growing prevalence, its growing power. attackers are using ransomware as if it is air that they breathe. Today, attackers encrypt the files and then they demand a ransom for the decryption key. Note, some attackers are faithful, they will give you the decryption key, some are not. So to pay or not to pay, that's your own. The policy depends on the policy of your own company. Next is the colonial pipeline ransomware. That's the next example we are going to look at. The colonial pipeline attack, which was perpetrated in 2021. This is a recent one, well, not so recent but still recent. This ransomware attacked significant fuel pipelines in the United States. It caused fuel shortages there, and then the attacker shut down critical infrastructures and demanded millions in ransom payments. Now let me just explain how this attack was caused. The group that caused this kind of attack, specific attack, was DarkSide. That's the name of their group, DarkSide. On the 7th of May 2021, the attackers gained access to the pipeline's IT systems, probably through dongles or flash drives. Then they encrypted the critical data and then asked for a ransom. As a precaution, Colonial Pipeline, which supplies nearly half of the East Coast, where New York is, half of the East Coast, United States East Coast fuel line, shut down its operation. They just shut it down, the Colonial Pipeline company shut down their own infrastructures. And because of this shutdown, there were the supply for the East Coast, United States East Coast fuel was cut nearly to half, and it spread fuel shortages, and then prices were hiked. The company eventually paid $4.4 million in Bitcoin to regain access to their own systems. This incident highlighted the vulnerabilities in critical infrastructures, and they also sever the impact that cyber attacks can have on the economy and national security. You can see that if there's no pumping of fuel, let's just say now that Dangote have started pumping fuel to Nigeria, pumping fuel for Nigerian use, for people in Nigeria to use. If when or possibly if a cyber attack happens, they will not be able to pipe again until they restore their own services. Now, DOS and DDoS. DDoS, you can see the meaning here: denial of service and distributed denial of service. A DOS attack overwhelms a target system, such as a website, with a flood of traffic, rendering it unable to serve legitimate requests. A DDoS attack is a DOS attack but using multiple systems. I can use one system, one server, to flood a website by sending multiple requests. I'm not sure whether you have seen DOS a DOS working. If you have done jam, you might have seen a DOS working. A DOS attack might necessarily not be a full attack or a malicious attack. Might just mean that many people want to access that site, and then the server cannot carry that kind of people, cannot give access the site to that kind of people, so it will just shut down itself or it will freeze. Have you ever seen a website freezing because there are many people trying to access the website? This happens a lot. Though there are protections against it, DDoS is when people use botnets or bots to attack, launch a more powerful attack, launch a more powerful denial of service attack. It's just what it means. It is denial of service. It denies services. Okay. Well, this is how a DDoS work. Now, do not mind this first and the third zombie. Just mind the second zombie. An attacker will use a controller to use a zombie to attack a server. Now let me just see this or explain to you. DDoS attack takes place on large scale websites, of course, and then such as gaming websites or e-commerce websites, which can be taken offline by the attacks, which will also affect users, even though they may not get what they want to get in a simple DDoS attack. When I mean money, but they have caused damage to the company, and any little problem, if there's a problem in a system for a company, it will be huge. The money that they will lose is probably going to be huge. A second of interruption will probably cause customers to be angry, and it will not lay well to the company's stocks and their own value. Next we are going to have is how DDoS work. As you can see here in the step 3 here, the blue step 3 here, you can see how a network works. This is just a basic TCP transfer control protocol 3-way handshake. A synchronized request will be sent to the server. A synchronized acknowledged request will be sent back to the client, and the client will send an acknowledge, not a request now, but an acknowledgement to the server that acknowledged that. Now in a DDoS attack, there is no client. There's no client at all. There's just the bot or the zombie. So they will be sending a synchronized request, sending many requests that it will not be able to acknowledge. So it will not be able to take enough of this request to just shut down, or just to shut down itself, or it will just hang. Now, social engineering, this is focusing on using the mentality of a target or attacking through the social media platforms. So social engineering attacks manipulate people into giving away their confidential information. Some of these attacks can be in form of phishing, but it also includes tactics like pretexting, which means pretending to be someone else, and then baiting, leaving a USB stick in a public place with malicious software, or leaving or sharing Wi-Fi freely. If someone shares Wi-Fi freely, he might or may be baiting you, because the moment you enter, if you enter a network together with someone, a Wi-Fi network or a hotspot network or any kind of network, there's a likelihood that the person can attack you. There's likelihood that the chance of him attacking you will be successful. An example of this is an attacker leaving a USB stick in a school computer lab, and it will be labeled class timetable, or let's just say biology, or let's say literature, or mathematics questions, or mathematics answers, or easy ways to solve mathematics questions. not just a flash drive, but maybe on a WhatsApp group or Signal group or Telegram group or any of the forums you are using in your school or anywhere. You click it and okay, you think it's something that is important, you click it and then you might not know, but you have installed a malware on your system. A curious student plugs it into the computer and then the malware will infect the system. Now we're going to understand vulnerabilities. What are vulnerabilities? These are weaknesses, these are loopholes, these are flaws in the system that attackers can exploit to carry out an attack. We have some common vulnerabilities on patch software. Some of these some attacks are being carried out because they are unpatched softwares. Now, when a software vendor discovers a security flaw, they release patches to fix them. Systems that aren't updated, as we have seen in the May 2017 WannaCry attack, it remains vulnerable to the attack. An example, as you can see, is the WannaCry attack that we talked about. Second is weak passwords. If you have weak password, then it's delicious for cyber criminals. It's delicious for them because they are going to deal with you very, very well. Okay, so passwords are, you know what passwords are? They are short, predictable, and reused across multiple accounts, but it also makes it easier for attackers to break into the system using brute forcing attacks or password cracking tools. You saw some of the password cracking tools in the last class. We can use it to attack a stationary database or an online database. Now, a common password like 1234567 people use, or password password, which is can be guessed easily, and it can be cracked in seconds using password cracking tools. The third common vulnerability is misconfigured systems or misconfigured settings, misconfigured systems. If a system or setting that are improperly configured provide an easy access to attackers or for attackers. Now, if you have open ports when you should not have those ports open, then you're in trouble, because when you scan using tools like Nmap, someone will be able to attack using any other thing. Someone will be able to attack using those ports or permissions. Okay, next is social engineering weaknesses. Humans are definitely often the weakest link in cybersecurity. This is an undistinguishable fact that humans are the weakest link most of the time, but not all the time. No matter how secure a system is, if the user can be manipulated into giving away their credentials, then the system will be compromised. Most of you can attack in basically, shall I say, mostly two ways, either from the user side or from the owner side. When I mean the owner side, the owner of the server, you can attack through there, or you can use social engineering methods to attack using the user side. Now, for an example, if an attacker wants to attack Google, you can attack Google through a person who has a Google email, a Gmail. Yeah, I'm right, Google email or Gmail. Or he can attack using Google themselves or the staff of Google. So you can attack through both sides. It's just like someone is attacking through the front or someone is attacking through the back. An example is when a school employee receives a call from someone pretending to be IT support of that school or of the service the school is also demanding. The attacker will convince the employee to reveal their system password so that the attacker will have access to sensitive school data. People, sometimes even most guarded people can make mistakes. That's why it's always important to always be clear-headed. Do not be thinking about there have been many people that I've seen these cases personally myself, when people just tell them, okay, please give me this code, we sent you a code, send it to us back. Instead, it was not them. They are just sending you one victim. I'll mention one victim told me that, okay, yeah, he sent it, but immediately he sent it, he knew those people were criminals or cyber criminals. Why? It was because his mind was carried away doing some things or working. Now we also have Equifax data breach. Now I'm going to describe the Equifax data breach, so you'll be able to now how Equifax data breach was carried out in 2017 and is considered one of the largest data breaches in history. Well, one of the largest, because this was defeated this year. This was defeated this year or some years back, but the most recent one is this year. 147 million people in that 2017. The attackers exploited a vulnerability in a web application framework called Apache Struts, which Equifax used in their systems. In March 2017, a security vulnerability CVE-2017-5638, I repeat, Charlie Victor Echo 2017-5638. You can go and check it online. You'll be able to see that vulnerability. It was discovered in the Apache Struts software. A patch to fix this was released shortly, but Equifax did not apply the patch immediately, and they suffered for that. The attackers scanned for the systems that hadn't been patched, and they used the vulnerability to gain access to Equifax network. The data, once they were inside, they exploited the weak internal security practices to move laterally, horizontal or vertically through the network, ultimately gaining access to sensitive data. From gaining access to mundane non-sensitive data to gaining sensitive data. They took access to databases and extracted personal information, which included social security numbers, SSNs, birth dates, addresses, and driver license numbers. This breach went unnoticed by Equifax for about 76 days, which gave the attackers ample time to do whatever they needed to do. And now some of the consequences of the attacks was that Equifax faced a significant financial penalty. They agreed to a global settlement of about $700 million with the Federal Trade Commission (FTC) and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and all 50 United States states. And people lost trust in Equifax. Their reputation took a massive hit, of course, and then the data information of 147 people that were using their own devices, that were using their own solutions, softwares and solutions, were compromised, which risked more personal attacks by the perpetrators. Now, how could you prevent this breach? Answer that question. please answer the question on through your comment box. How might individuals or companies avoid falling victim to similar attacks? Please also do that. Now the practicals. Okay, we are going to go into Kali Linux now. Kali Linux, I did not explain Kali Linux earlier, but Kali Linux is an operating system that's being used by cybersecurity professionals to carry out attacks, to teach, to also practice. It's a very good operating system for carrying out attacks, but also using. It's a friendly system. It's a very friendly system for those who don't know Linux themselves. If you want to have the basics of Linux, there are many places. One of the places that you will see been taught by me, the link will be sent below in the description on just the basics of, when I mean the basics, yeah, the basic of Kali Linux. Now we are going to go directly into Nmap. Okay, Nmap is an application. You can find it on Windows, ZenMap, if I'm not wrong. ZenMap is the GUI, which is graphical user interface of Nmap on Linux. You can also find Nmap for Apple operating system. Okay, you can use this menu button. This is the menu, or the start button here. I press start instead of clicking it. You can go to vulnerability and access analysis or information gathering. Nmap is both of those things. It gathers information. It also checks for vulnerabilities. Now I can click this Nmap, or I can use Nmap as said here before. Good, but first things first, I'm going to change my directory to home/home/kali-desktop-CiAY. This is the program. Now I'm going to open this and leave this open here. So any of the scans that I put for outputs, I will use it here. Now the basic thing you need to know about Nmap to scan Nmap is Nmap, the website, or the IP address of that website, and then enter. It's going to scan as far as your network is switched on. As far as your network, I'm using a virtual box here, so it's wired connection here. I'll clear the screen. I clear my screen, and then the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to scan. Let's scan google.com. Sorry. Nmap. For good purpose, I'll prefer to use sudo, but let's just use Nmap. Let me just use a sudo. I told you sudo is just trying to say you are the owner of the system, then you're the administrator of the system. So sudo google.com -v. V is verbose. So now before I do this sudo nmap google.com, let me just tell you, you can check your network connectivity here. I have config. It's showing here I have config. Now I can also do something like to check. Yes, I can also do something like nmap dash h to show me anything, the shortened manual of nmap. This happens in most applications for Linux devices. They have the manual pages. This is just the manual page, but then the real manual is man nmap, and it's going to open a whole manual for you with everything, every information you need to use, and everything. It explains everything for you how to use this application. And now we're done. I'm just going to go through basic scans for you. So this basic scan that you are going to see here, nmap.sudo kali. Yes, so now you see it's giving me more details because I put verbose, and you can see here nmap.h. You can see what verbose mean here. Dash v should be shown. No, that's it. While we're doing this, while we're waiting for our own scan to finish, now increase verbosity level. Here, this is the output. Now notice it's scanned, right? But how will we see the information? We can see it here, but this information can be lost, right? Yes. So before I do this, I'm going to do something here. nmap dash o n normal. And where is my directory? Where am I here? I'm on this place, right? Desktop dash CiAY. You can see here when we did our dash cd, right? This is what we did here. We are here, and you're going to see something magical. It gave us google.com, which I did not specify anything. I did not specify the name. That was a mistake on my part. So first scan now google.com. Note that I also made another mistake. Scan here failed to resolve scan, so you have to make sure that it's so. Let's remove this, control delete, or as I taught you before in the previous class, rm what google.com. Yes, clear. So this is the report of the scan. While we're opening it, this is the report of the scan. So what? Google.com, port 80 is open, port 443 is open, which is basically the only some of the few ones that are not supposed to open. Note it's just scanning 1,000 ports. There are more than 1,000 ports, but then a basic scan will just scan the most common 1,000 ports. And the services, the ports that are open here is what? HTTP services, which is on port 80, is TCP. HTTPS services on port 443, which is also TCP. Now we can do some more advanced scans. Let's type the second ON. I don't want to use ON, I want to use OG, which is greppable. See all these that I'm talking about, you can see it here. OG is what? This is first, second, third, fourth. So first, second, third, fourth. This is script KDS. Normal here. OX is XML. OG is greppable format. OG is greppable format. So you get it in greppable format, but I don't want to do that. I want to get in OA. I want to have the output of three major outputs. So I do OA. Okay, I do OA, and apart from that, I'll also do a service version scan dash SV. I don't want to do a fast scan, but to have a fast scan is like that, dash F, and we have more things that we're going to do, so I'm going to be very fast here. Dash V, this is my second scan, dash OA. Okay, that's my mistake again. Pardon my mistake. Second dash SV. It should work here. So is, as you can see, it's giving me three outputs, one in XML, one in normal format, one in grapple format. You will learn what grapple is if you go and learn a bit of Kali Linux. Yes, now because of time, we are just going to push through to, you have UDP scan, you have ping scan. A lot of these scans that I'm talking about here, they are already here in the help menu. All the scans, say SV here. What I just did was to determine the service or the device service. Now F, as I said, fast scan, SN, all these scans, they are here. Let's go into more. Okay, it's still scanning, which will take time, which we don't have. We can also do many scans. You can also use decoy. Now I'm going to use a decoy here. I'm going to use a decoy, two decoys actually. Now I'm going to rename this. Please just guess how I'm doing this. This is help. I'm renaming this tab help. This is first, second. You can also double tap and rename. Now this second, I'm going to do sudo net apps, now nmap dash on, what's the name, third, right? Third, what scan do I want? I want to use a SS scan, SV scan, fast scan, decoy scan, dash. Let's just do a basic scan. No, let's do a fast scan, so that fast scan, and then a decoy scan, and then RND is random, and I'll specify the random IP addresses I want to use, and then I'll go with verbose, right? And that's basically what you can do. Oh, I did not put the target. Google.com. I'm going to use providers.com here. Please do not scan a website that you are not permitted to, because you'll be on handcuffs. I'm scanning Google because, okay, I'm scanning once or twice. I don't want to scan multiple times. That's why I changed it from Google to a website I know I'm permitted to scan for this test. And everything here is done. That's done everything for us. We're going to look at it later on, the scan later on. And okay, yeah, good. My password here, I've typed it. Yes, you see it's just when brought out. So let's look at the GN map. See all these ports, it scanned all these ports, 1, 3 to 4, 6 to 7. It's just trying to say it scanned all the ports. This is the greppable format. Now what is it telling us here? The ports is open, the status is up, it ignored or filtered 998. This filtered means that it might be open, it might not be open. Alright, let's also open this here. See, the more, if your scan is very fast, you might not get information. If your service is, if your scan is very fast, you might not get much information as you ought to get. Now, thank you for getting to the end of this class. Appreciate please, if you have questions, please do your best to, if you have questions, do your best to put it in the comment box. I'm going to answer your questions. Thank you and goodbye.
Hi everyone, my name is Bakaroluwa Bukola Elizabeth. I am a project manager and pharmacist by profession, and I have the amazing opportunity to speak to us. Thank you, InStride Pathway Youth Foundation, for the 30-day Career Boost initiative. Thank you for the amazing opportunity to be speaking to great minds. I do not take this lightly, and I hope that everyone who is a part of this 30-day Career Boost initiative are making the most of it, because this is a very rare opportunity. I will be speaking to us on the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is quality education. However, before I continue, I want to make a few establishments so that we can understand the things that I will be speaking to us, and we can easily follow through as I go on. My topic is quality learning for global impact, and I will be speaking to us on how we can get quality education that will enable us make a global impact, that will make us credible to compete on global platforms. What are Sustainable Development Goals? Sustainable Development Goals was adopted by the United Nations. It's an initiative of the United Nations and was adopted in the year 2015, and there are 17 of them, and each of them focuses on different areas in order to ensure that we have a better world to live in. There's the part that focuses on climate, there's the part that focuses on life on land, there's the part that focuses on life under water. There's the part that focuses on poverty, education, which is the area that I will be focusing on. Sustainable Development Goal 4, which focuses on quality education. Education is a fundamental human right, and that is one of the reasons why the Sustainable Development Goal 4 was set, to ensure equitable and inclusive educational system so that everyone has an opportunity to have access to quality education. Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is quality education, can be addressed on the macro level and on the micro level. On the macro level, it involves organizations, which could be governmental and non-governmental, to make interventions to ensure that quality education is accessible to everyone, irrespective of their race, their gender, their background, or their financial capacity. It could mean the government building more institutions, such as educational institutions, to ensure that people have access to education for free or even paid. Or it could mean that they would employ more qualified teachers to ensure that people have access to quality education. It could mean that they make more scholarships available. It could mean that more people are equipped to provide quality education. However, for the aim of this session, I will be focusing very much on the micro level, which is the individual level, individual interventions to achieve quality education. And I will be focusing on personal commitment to lifelong learning. There's a saying that has been going around, which is that nobody is coming to save you. Well, for the purpose of this session, I will be using that a lot. This is because we are directly or indirectly responsible for the quality of education that we get. Yes, our parents might have being able to pay our school fees, while some do not even have this luxury of their parents being able to pay for their school fees. The government might have provided organizations, provided institutions for us to access quality learning. However, if we ourselves are not willing to get quality education, we might not be able to access it or even make use of it. So what is education? Education is the art of learning and being able to apply knowledge. You won't be said to be educated if you cannot apply the knowledge that you have gained. So for example, I go to school, I learn how to speak, I learn how to read and write, and I come out of school and I can't do any of these things. Nobody would regard me as someone who is educated or someone who has obtained knowledge to do these things. This is because I do not have the ability to show that I have actually been educated in this area. So if you are educated, for your educational cycle to be complete, then you must have obtained knowledge that you can apply. Then if you can apply that knowledge, then your educational cycle is complete. And if you have obtained quality education, it means that you have obtained education that has made you skilled to apply the knowledge that you have gained in real life situations. So you're able to solve real life problems. You're able to critically analyze a real life problem, and you're able to profess solution to it based on the knowledge or the skill that you have gained in the process. So I've explained what education and quality education is. Now, how do we have access to affordable quality education as an individual? Because believe you me, we are the ones that make up the world. If we're saying that we want everyone to have access to quality education, it means that we want you and I to have access to quality education. So how do you have access to quality education? The first thing I want us to have at the back of our minds is that you do not have to break a bank to get quality education. Quality education can be free. However, before I proceed with telling us the avenues through which we can get quality education, I would like to establish why we need to get quality education. For you to solve global problems, you need to take a global approach to learning. You must not confine yourself to the four walls of the classroom. You must have a growth mindset. Be ready to pick up any opportunity that is available or that is at your disposal for you to obtain knowledge or quality education. There are several avenues for you to obtain quality education without having to break a bank. There are avenues that are affordable. There are avenues that could be free, that could be free for you to obtain quality education. So you must be willing to part with your resources sometimes to get quality education, but there are avenues for you to get quality education that is affordable. You need to get quality education because there are global problems that need to be solved, and for those problems to be solved, you need to be equipped with the right skill and the right knowledge to apply in those scenarios. For example, the person who invented electricity is not only solving a problem that is specific to his location or to his country, but now electricity is used all over the world, in different places of the world. Why? Because the person has solved a global problem. So for you to solve a global problem, you have to take a global approach to learning. You have to take an approach to learning that is beyond the four walls of your classroom, that is beyond the places that you can see or that are closest to you. You must be able to take advantage of every opportunity at your disposal, and I will be exposing us to opportunities or avenues where we can learn and obtain quality education without having to break a bank or part with resources that we need for our daily survival. There are several platforms for you to get quality education for free or at affordable amounts. Like I had established earlier, you should not limit education to the four walls of your classroom. So here are a few opportunities or platforms where you can get quality education. You could take online courses that are globally recognized, that are beyond the four walls of your classroom or even your nation. You can take courses that are recognized globally. You could take LinkedIn courses, you could use Coursera, you could use Udemy, you could use ALX. It's funny how on some of these platforms you do not even need to pay a dime. For Coursera, for example, I know that some of their courses you have to pay, some of their courses are not free. However, you can apply for a financial aid where you can get these courses for free. You can read books, you can be a part of communities where you can be trained for free. For example, the 30-day career boost provided by InStride is one of those opportunities where you get exposed to knowledge for free. So it is an amazing opportunity and you shouldn't take light of it. You should grab these opportunities whenever they are at your disposal. You could enroll for internships. Internships are great ways for you to be educated on certain things, especially for you to improve your skill set, for you to be trained. Volunteering is also an amazing opportunity. You're trained for free. You obtain a skill set that can be added to your CV or that can make you better. Even as a secondary school student, volunteering is one of those ways that would equip you for your future endeavors. It will help you decide what area you want to focus on. So when you come out of secondary school, you are not one of those people that is confused. You don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to study and all of that. This is because by volunteering you would have been able to discover yourself, and over time this gives you credibility. Somebody wants to employ you after you finished university and they are not looking, what experience does this person have. They see your volunteering activities and they know, this person is credible, this person has been building themselves up since they were little, since they were young and all of that. So it makes you credible, it makes you more competent to compete on global platforms and being able to solve global problems. It even makes you more fit for global opportunities. So when you're applying for scholarships to study outside of your country, or to get a grant to do something that you need to do, or funding for something that you need, your volunteering activities, your internships, all these things give credibility to you. It shows that you're a lifelong learner and you're devoted to getting quality education. Schools and institutions. Schools are a great platform for learning. Your universities, secondary schools, all of these opportunities, institutions, all of these opportunities are great opportunities. Lagos Business School, there's different business schools, different places where you can obtain certifications that would help you become better at your skills, at your skill or your career or profession. These institutions also provide you with certifications that make you credible and make people see that you've actually gone to a school to learn a skill or gain knowledge about a particular field of practice. Attending conferences, attending webinars, career and trade fairs, all of these things help you become better at your field and also gives you credibility to be globally recognized or to compete on global platforms. I've opened our eyes to see that there are several ways that we can get quality education without having to break a bank, and there are several avenues which are beyond the four walls of our classroom. There's one more thing I would like to open our mind to, which is the fact that we have to invest in quality education. You should never feel that parting with your resources to get knowledge or skill or anything that would help you become more credible or become better at what you do as a form of stress or strain. You must see parting with your resources, your time, your pleasure in order to gain education as an investment, because it always yields returns that are better than what we have invested. You never know the opportunities that you get from platforms for learning, from conferences, from webinars, from you never really know what type of skill, what kind of people you meet, and all of that. So all of these things help you. They make you more credible, they make you more globally fit to handle global situations and all of that. What is your role in achieving the sustainable development goal? I've made us see how we can achieve quality education for us. How can we make other people come into what we have seen? One of the ways is to endeavor to be a part of advocacy for quality education. Be one of those people that advocates for quality education like I do. Another way is to always share opportunities with your friends, your colleagues, your acquaintance. Post on your status, post on your social media. Let everyone know about the opportunities that you have come across that might be useful to them. You never know who you're helping, especially when they are free or you don't have to pay a lot for them. It's one of those ways that you help people come into what you have seen. It's one of those ways you help people come into quality education, and by so doing you help to achieve the sustainable development goal, which is quality education. And there are benefits to it. Apart from you helping to achieve the sustainable development goal, you also put yourself out there as someone who is actively learning and actively growing in their field. So when opportunities come, people quickly remember you because they've seen you post about things related to that area. Briefly, I will be sharing with us some amazing opportunities for us to learn and grow and also obtain quality education. One of it is Thrive Initiative. Thrive Initiative is a career and business empowerment program or initiative. What we do is that we help you obtain visibility, we help you train and also network. You network with mentors, you network with those in your field, and also you also have the opportunity to also mentor other people in your field while you are also trained on how to put yourself out there and be globally relevant as well as credible to compete on global platforms. We also give you the visibility you need in order for what you do to be seen, because sometimes you're doing great stuff but nobody is saying it. So this program, this initiative exposes us to these three major aspects, and thereby helping us in our business and in our career. And we are having a webinar soon where we would have career professionals and business owners come to speak to us on how they have been able to thrive in their field and on things that we can do to thrive in our field of practices, career, business, whatever it may be. You would have someone come speak to you on how to become better in your field or how to even get into your field. Another amazing opportunity that I will be sharing with us is the Peculiar Foundation, which is a foundation that focuses on achieving the sustainable development goal, which is quality education. The organization ensures that less privileged children have access to quality education by providing them with educational materials, giving them scholarships, and also sensitizing them regarding quality education and all of that. And we achieve this through one of our major yearly programs, which is called Education. So why am I sharing this with you? You can be part of any one of the programs that I have shared. You want to join in for the webinar, you want to be part of Thrive community, you want to volunteer to join Peculiar Foundation, or you want to be our ambassador in your state, so that you can communicate with us on places that we can come to, people that need our help and all of that. Or you want to join us remotely as an intern or as a volunteer or on site, whatever the case may be, we are open to working with you, and this would be an amazing opportunity for you to grow as well. So if any of these opportunities is appealing to you and you would like to join us, a number will be shared by the members of the Career Boost initiative with you, and I've also included it on my slide so you can have access to the slides so that you can access the number and reach out to us. One of the amazing things about this is that for the webinar, which would be an avenue for you to join the community, you can join in for the webinar at a discounted price. Instead of paying 15,000 naira, you would have the amazing opportunity of paying about 3,000 naira to be a part of the community and also joining for this webinar. This is our own way of contributing to the Career Boost initiative. So what you can do is to send a WhatsApp message to the contact that has been provided and say that you were part of the Career Boost initiative and you would like to either join in for the webinar or volunteer or be a part of the initiative or the foundation. Do have an amazing time. Thank you, InStride Pathway Youth Foundation, for this amazing opportunity.
Hello everyone, my name is Elekwachi Victor. I'm a sixth-year medical student at the University of Jos, Nigeria. I feel very delighted and honored to be invited to share my thoughts on this topic. I want to appreciate Adeyinka Adegoke and his amazing team for putting up this program. I really want to commend the InStride Pathway Youth Foundation for this annual 30-day Career Boost initiative for African youths. It's a wonderful and a highly commendable project, as I must say, and I love the vision behind it, connecting youths to the SDGs and boosting their role and participation in advancement. Today, I've been given this topic to discuss with you all, and I'm really excited because I'm an SDG-3 advocate, and I really feel happy to share my thoughts on this topic, which is universal health care, a realistic goal for global health equity. Now, yes, once again, I want to commend the InStride Pathway for their contribution, their meaningful contribution towards the advancement of the SDG. All right, so at the end of this lecture, we would hope that we would have been able to increase awareness on universal health coverage. We would have been able to discuss present issues and profile solutions. We would have been able to discuss the role you and I have to play for in advancing or achieving universal health coverage by 2030. All right, so we'll be discussing this topic, universal health care, a realistic goal for global health equity, in the following outline. We look at the definition, the introduction, the definition of terms. We look at global health equity, universal health coverage, achieving universal health coverage and global health, and also challenges involved. Then we also look at the progress reports and recommendations. As a way of introduction, the indices for assessing a country's progress is hinged on the strength of its economy and a healthy population. That is to say that a country is assessed based not just on its economy, the strength of its economy and how well it's doing, but also its human capital, which is a healthy population therein, because this would also translate into a productivity, right? Now, again, according to the Consortium of Universities for Global Health is seen as a field of study, research, and practice that places a priority on achieving equity in health for all people. Now, until health truly becomes a fundamental human right for everyone, everywhere, universal health coverage may not be achieved. As a way of definition, would look at global health under three headings, or we'll look at the three components of global health. But one of which is the scope. Then we look at the focus and then the approach. Right. So global health is global in scope. That is, it cuts across or it incorporates healthcare delivery across borders. Right? It is not just a national thing or a community focus, right? Or if community, its scope cuts across health delivery, quality healthcare across borders, across nations, across countries, across the world entirely. That's why it's global, right? So it is global in scope. Now, again, it is global in focus. Global in the sense that it addresses the human as a physical, it assesses the physical, mental, social, and environmental well-being of the individual. So beyond looking at healthcare delivery across nations, we are also saying that global health talks about the individual in totality, spirit, soul, and body. That we are not focused on the individual's physique alone, his physical health, but also every other aspect that makes up this person. And so we say that global health looks at the individual as a whole, right? So it is global in focus. Again, global health is global in its approach. It does not just incorporate the medical theme as you would have in many national approaches, right? Maybe in public health and the likes. But in global health, we are saying that it comprises a multidisciplinary approach. So we have stakeholders from the political aspects, from the financial, environmental, and even the medical disciplines, putting hands together to achieve quality healthcare for everyone, everywhere, right? So on these three components make up global health. That we're looking at the healthcare, spirit, soul, and body of individuals everywhere, across the world, cross borders, healthcare delivery, healthcare services, and quality healthcare that is being delivered across borders, across every country, across China, across Europe, across Australia, across every in Africa, every region, all together. So it's looking at healthcare delivery across borders, looking at the individual in entirety, and then with a multidisciplinary approach. Now, global health equity aims at achieving better health outcomes for vulnerable populations and communities around the world. The efforts of global health practitioners, therefore, is primarily channeled towards eliminating health disparities in low resource settings around the world through research, education, and collaborative intervention. Now, we'll get back to this slide as we proceed. Right, so let's try to define some of the terms we found here, like see health equity here, or equity, see the word also disparity, health disparities on that slide, right? So let's just try to define what some of those terms mean. Now, equity in this context simply means it is the absence of unfair, avoidable, or remediable differences. I would say the absence of even unnecessary differences. Yes, remediable differences that are solvable, right? Now, remediable differences across groups of people. Health equity is achieved when everyone can attain their full potential for health and well-being. On the other hand, health disparities are the differences, right? So remember, in equity, we said that it is the unfair, it is the absence, the removal, right? The removal of unfair, avoidable. It's important to note the word avoidable, meaning that they are solutions. They are not mountains that do not have, that are unsurmountable, but these ones have solutions. Right? So they are unfair, avoidable, remediable differences. Now, health disparity are the differences. So, in other words, it's a health equity simply means that it is the removal, right? Is the removal of avoidable disparities, removal of avoidable differences, right, between populations in their ability to achieve positive health outcomes. So, whatever represents a reason, tangible or excuses, whatever may be the reason why a certain class of people, a certain group of people, a certain sect of individuals are not able to achieve quality health care, irrespective of their geographical location, that represents a health disparity in simple terms, right? So it could be age. There are extremes of age, the children, the adolescents, the infants, the neonates. We also have the elderly, the pediatrics, right? So whatever may be a reason why children could not, could it be because of their age? That is why there's so much difference in that particular location, right? Why they're not able to access healthcare. Is it because they are old? Is it age factor, right? Could it be because of the disability they may have? Perhaps they are handicapped, blind, visually impaired, perhaps. Whatever may be that challenge, could be gender differences, as we see in some times and some countries, right? Sexual identity, race, and ethnicity, could also be socioeconomic status and geographical location factors that have affected quality healthcare delivery to individuals. And we are saying that health equity is achieved when everyone, everywhere, can attain full potential for health and well-being. When these differences are removed, when they are narrowed, when they are obliterated, when these differences become insignificant, where there are no more reasons why people, irrespective of where they are no more reasons why people cannot access quality health care, irrespective of your color, your race, your gender. There should not be any limitation to accessing healthcare. Why? Because, as we said in the first slide, that until health becomes truly, in all sense, until health becomes a fundamental human right, then universal health coverage may not be achieved. All right. Now, this picture further helps to put these terms to perspective. I found this on the net, by the way. Now, we see in reality, the first picture by my left, right? In reality, we see that one gets more than is needed, while the other gets less than is needed. And this is what happens, right? Where people climb societies, countries, regions, communities, right, that are already having what they need. They are self-sufficient, but yet, due to certain factors, they keep getting more than they need. There's a difference between want and need. Of course, I believe we know the difference between want and need, right? Want, of course, would be in plain terms what you can do without, right? But then need is what you cannot do without. So they have more than they need, more than they need. For instance, I have two legs, right? Two legs. And then imagine me having 50 shoes, 50 pairs of shoes. That is more than I need. At best, I have two legs. A shoe is okay for me, if that's a good example anyway, right? So you can imagine, and then somebody out there do not even have a shoe and is living in an environment that is full of thorns. So I have 50 pairs of shoes and I live, and I don't go out. I don't go anywhere, right? Everything is within my reach. I live in a mansion, right, or in a castle where everything is within my reach. And then you have somebody out there that needs to go out every day. He lives out there in the forest. Now, who do you think needs those 50? I have more than I need in plain terms, right? again, it's like pouring on a 1 liter jar. You pour 2 liters into it. It overflow, right? Because what that 1 liter jar needs to get filled is just 1 liter, or what that jar needs to get filled is 1 liter, right? And so pouring 2 liters into it is only going to cause a waste. And that's what we have, right? You see, the rich getting more. They have that already. They can afford healthcare, and you see more interventions at their doorstep. They are educated. See, they're educated, always having more. They have more ability. They have more means. They have more information, right? And then, unlike, and then you imagine now having more social, more programs, more awareness campaigns in this area that people are already educated. They already have access to social media. They have access to, the televisions and all of that. And you still go around doing campaign in such areas. That is good, yes. But if we have a community that doesn't have such privilege to have such campaign carried out, now you'd see that, yes, this community they have what they need, which is education, health education, right? So that campaign is good, but it's not needed there. If you do more campaigns there, you do more of this, more of that, more interventions, you are doing the right thing, or you're doing a good thing, or maybe not the right thing, right? So the right thing would be, if you want to achieve equity, would be to evenly distribute resources. That's what equity is saying. Evenly distribution of resources, evenly, right? Now we look at it. Now that's also different from equality. I said evenly, not equally, right? So in equality, we are looking at the assumption. The assumption in equality is that everyone benefits from the same support. That is to say, that so I have, just as is depicted in this picture there, right? See that everybody gets a bench to enable them view, but you fail to put into cognizance their height, right? You fail to consider that one person, they are not all of equal height. And so even if you distribute equally, some people, even with that intervention, right, they still not be able to meet up with the basic requirements to thrive in life. Putting it into our context, with your equal intervention, some people may still not be able to access the quality healthcare, basic quality healthcare they need to thrive. So you have an endemicity. Say we have an outbreak of cholera, for instance, or even say let me say we have malaria. Let me even bring it home, right? So you have subventions, you have materials for interventions, right? Say mosquito nets. I would like to use that for the most part of this discussion, right? So you have mosquito net to distribute, and then you give 100 to America, you give 100 to Korea, and you give 100 to Nigeria. I think that's a good thing, but again, you see that's equal, that's equality, giving everybody equally, right? Giving the interventions, equal intervention. But you see, that is not equity, in that you have to assess who needs more. Where is this problem? Where is this problem? The problem is there a malaria problem in America? Is there a malaria problem in Korea? Right? Is there a malaria problem in Nigeria? Yes. So would we solve the problem in Nigeria if we give Nigeria 200 mosquito nets? Would we have solved the problem, or would we have been able to alleviate, help them, prevent the problem, lift them up to a level of where they can survive, where they can thrive? Would we have been able to do that? If yes, then America do not need that intervention, right? So interventions in equity, we are looking at what people need, not what they want, not even per se, not even want. They may not even want it, right? It's not about giving everybody what is available, but distributing what is available where it is needed. That's the point, right? So an equity, like we said, everyone gets the support they need. It is distributing evenly, like I said, be distributing resources where they are needed, And so, of course, and that's why one key thing in global health equity, like we mentioned in previous slides, is research. One way we achieve global health is by research, because it's through research that we get to discover what communities, what societies, what they need. We discover needs through some of these through research, right? We identify communities, we identify problems in every region, and then distribute interventions and support, right, and assistance as needed, and thereby bringing everybody to a platform where they can, at least, where the poor, where the rich, where the blind, where the lame, where those in the rural, the underserved, where everybody, where the black, where the white, are able to access at least the basic quality health care that would enable them thrive in life. Right. So now for justice, it's removing the disparities, removing the inequalities entirely, providing innovative solutions that would make those disparities, those differences, make those problems, those issues, right? They would make them look insignificant, removing those problems entirely. So when we build quality, well-equipped hospitals in rural areas, people in the rural areas would live as though they are not in the rural areas. That is justice. They are providing those in the city with quality, with well-equipped facilities, as well as providing those in the rural, in the villages and towns with well-equipped hospitals too. See, that would have taken out the differences, so as well as other factors that may present themselves. All right. Now, universal health coverage. The topic we are discussing is simply saying, to put in more simple terms, that universal health coverage is a realistic goal for global health equity. That is to say that universal health coverage is a strategic way of achieving universal health. Of achieving global health. Now, what does universal health coverage mean? It means that all people have full range of quality health services that they need, when and where they need them, without financial hardship. There are specific terms here that we would look into, would consider as we go forward, right? So that they have the full range of quality, not just any kind of service, but quality, right? Services that they need, right? When they need them, because it's not enough. So if the service comes when they don't need them, or when the services are not available in times of emergency, it's not useful, right? Not useful, no matter the intervention, it's not useful. If it had killed out of a population of 1,000 in a community, a village, mosquito nets get to come when 500 people had died. That may be a good intervention, but not coming at the right time, right? So the timeliness of that intervention, of every intervention, needs to be considered when looking at universal health coverage. Again, it covers the full continuum of essential services, from health promotion, prevention, treatment, rehabilitation, and palliative care. Now, the SDG 3 target 8 seeks to achieve universal health coverage, including financial risk protection, access to quality essential healthcare services, and access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable essential medicines and vaccines for all. Now, we are saying that universal health coverage seeks to achieve quality health care for everyone, everywhere, without the threats, without a consideration, without the fear of financial hardship. Very important, right? So whether the old, the young, the male or female, child, whatever factor it may be, right? That those do not become limitations to why a person, wherever they are not able to access quality healthcare. Now, what are some of these essential services? They're not limited, but some of them include maternal and reproductive health, emergency care, minor illnesses and non-communicable diseases, nutrition, childcare, vaccines, infant vaccines, and the likes, right? So these are some of the essential services that every individual should have access to. Because they would overall determine the welfare of a person. They would overall determine the quality of life the person will live. Now, some of the aspects of universal health coverage, some of the determinants, some of the factors that promote, if we want to achieve universal health coverage, we must look at the following subheadings, which include financial protection, health financing, health laws, primary health care, medicines and vaccines, quality of care, and some social determinants of health. Now, as we go further, we may not be able to look or discuss every point here. We'll just pick a few of them and elaborate on how achieving every of these points is very important in achieving universal health coverage. That is to say, if we want to achieve universal health coverage, these are the methods, these are the components that individually must be improved, must be considered, must be strategically redeveloped, redesigned, right? If we must achieve universal health coverage. So we take the first, financial protection. Now, financial protection is the core of universal health coverage. It is the core because, like I said earlier, it is not enough to provide the service, but it is also required that these services are cost effective, that the people are not, their finances, their livelihood are not threatened, right? So it is achieved, financial protection is achieved when direct payments made to obtain health services do not expose people to financial hardship and do not threaten living standards. So a person after health management, after receiving health care, is not able to afford a 3 square meal, that becomes a big problem, right? That becomes a big problem because that's for that person, say for instance, he underwent a surgery, right? So the next thing he needs so much would be nutrition, right? You need to eat very well, a balanced diet, and consistently so to build his immunity, build his system so as to for the wounds to heal, right? And his immune system that might have been compromised to be rebuilt. Now, if this person is not able, this patient is not able to afford following the cost of that surgery, following the cost of that health management, he is not able to recover and afford 3 square meal. Let's say he begins to eat only once a day. You see, that person is at risk of being exposed or being vulnerable to another infection, right? Because his immune system that is supposed to develop and fight any other invading infection would still not be developed because of poor nutrition, right? So the cycle would continue. So from one problem, you go back, you are treated because you cannot afford due to malnutrition, your immunity is down, you get another infection, and then the cycle continues. It becomes a vicious cycle. And so we are greatly concerned in achieving universal health coverage. We have not achieved universal health coverage if we are able to deliver quality health care, but then people still undergo financial hardship, then we have still not succeeded. Right? So the solution, like I said, intermittently as we discussed, will be profiling some solutions. Right? So the solution to protecting people is by ensuring prepayments and pooling of resources for health rather than people paying at the time of use. This, I believe, is a strategic solution or a strategic way or method at which or by which people can be saved from financial hardship. Now, let's try to define catastrophic out-of-pocket health spending. A health spending is said to be catastrophic, or out-of-pocket spending on healthcare is said to be catastrophic when that spending exceeds 10% of a household budget. Now, these statistics continue to rise, or statistics continue to rise in this regard. That is to say that more and more households continue to spend greater than 10% of their budget on health, and thereby putting more and more people in financial burden and hardship, pushing them more into poverty. And remember, now that is why one of the key factors, the key goal, I would say that it is, in fact, it is so essential that it affects almost every other SDG. And this is it, SDG 3.8, achieving universal health coverage. It is so central to achieving every other goal because, as we've discussed, healthcare can push people to poverty, which is SDG 1. Without quality healthcare, you have people not being able to go to school, their educations are affected, right? And every other aspects go on and on to be affected through a lack of achieving universal health coverage, as we continue to see in the presentation. Now, this is a little graph illustrating what we just discussed, the out of spending, a catastrophic out of pocket health spending, right? So we see that on this axis, right, you see it's graduated from 0 to 5, and then we are saying that 10%, right, that when it exceeds 10%, it becomes catastrophic. Now, we see that in the year 2000, right, in the year 2000, this is a global statistics, by the way, right? In the year 2000, we have that we have a huge number of people, or a statistics show that a huge number of people were slightly above catastrophic, slightly above, that is, they were not up to catastrophic out-of-pocket expenditure yet, right? But it continued to decline. And so as at 2015, you see that it was almost, it has exceeded, of course, and almost approaching 15%, right? And down to 2019, where it has already gotten to 15%, which is far greater than 10%, which we define as catastrophic, right? So more and more people are further pushed into deeper levels of poverty because of healthcare. Should health be that expensive? Does it mean that only those who have the means, right, should be able to have the right, that only those who have the means have the right to access quality healthcare? And then those who, for whatever reasons, who for reasons beyond their control, reasons beyond their wish, are not able to afford it, are not able to not have the means, does it mean that these people should not access quality healthcare? This is a question that universal health coverage seeks to or to answer, right? And which is that it should not be a factor. Who you are should not be a factor. Where you live should not be a factor. We will keep emphasizing this all through this discussion, and everywhere universal health coverage is mentioned, this is always the focus, that these factors should not be a determinant Your age should not be a determinant. You should have, whether you are in neonate, you should have equal access, quality healthcare, right? Because if we monetize health, then only a few will live, and that is a very tragic state. So this graph, if you must get it right, the trajectory should be this way. All right, so let's look at a few statistics. Now, WHO statistics shows that in 2021, about 4.5 billion people were not fully covered by essential health services. That is, about 4.5 billion people could not afford or could not access essential health services. Either they had to pay for it, right? And for reasons due to maybe finances or access, they were not able to receive essential. Essential means the basic, the basic services that one needs to survive. They could not access it. About 4.5 billion people worldwide. This is very disheartening. Again, about 2 billion people are facing financial hardship, including 1 billion that are experiencing catastrophic out-of-pocket health spending. And we have defined what catastrophic out-of-pocket health spending means, right? Is it also the 344 million people that are going deeper into extreme poverty? Again, we see, sadly, that about 70 million people are pushed into poverty every year due to health costs. This is very alarming. They are calling figures as though they are currencies, as if money we are talking about. But this is a real time, a real situation across the countries of the world that seeks to be addressed. Nigeria allocates between 3.5% and 6.24% of her total budget to healthcare financing. This is as compared to 12.1% allocated to healthcare by the Canadian government. Little wonder why universal health coverage is at 99% advancement. It is about 99% achieved in Canada as compared to Nigeria. Now, primary healthcare, we've considered financial protection. Let's move forward to see primary healthcare as a major component in achieving universal health coverage, which we say is a realistic strategy if we want to achieve global health equity. And we have defined global health equity to mean a state where everybody everywhere is able to access is able to attain their full potential for health and well-being. Now, let's look at primary healthcare as a strategy or a tool to achieving universal health coverage. Primary healthcare is a whole of society approach to health that aims at ensuring the highest possible level of health and well-being and their equitable distribution by focusing on people's needs and as early as possible along the continuum from health promotion and disease prevention to treatment, rehabilitation, and palliative care, and as close as feasible to people's everyday environment. Primary health care, this is according to WHO and the UNICEF. Now, primary health care is simply a society approach to bring, or a society strategy, right, to bring quality health care to the doorstep of people that they are able to achieve, they are able to access quality health care as at when and where needed at their doorstep, few kilometers, maximum 5 kilometers away from their household, right? That they are able to access quality health care. It seeks, and this is universal health coverage. If we are able to achieve quality, if we're able to achieve well-equipped primary health care, the ideology behind it is that through this primary health care system, everybody everywhere is supposed to access quality health care, that you can simply run to these primary health care centers and have those essential services rendered to you. Hereby, everybody everywhere, bridging that gap of those disparities, bridging that gap of accessibility, right, and availability, bridging the finance barrier that only those that have the money can access it, only those that are in the rural area the urban areas can access it, bridging all those factors, right, building a bridge. So primary health care was designed to be a bridge, the bridge between all of these or most of these factors. And we are saying that even in these centers, healthcare service delivery must not just only be a quality service that's delivered in these centers, but must also be affordable. Because we have said it's not enough to bring it to your doorstep, but it must be affordable. It must be affordable. And so it is important that this primary healthcare system across countries be upheld. We must go back to ensure that the primary healthcare system is well established across countries, the underserved population, underserved communities, that they have a working primary healthcare system. This is very important and essential. Again, looking at a few statistics, scaling up primary healthcare interventions across low and middle income countries could save 60 million lives and increase the average life expectancy by 3.7 years by 2030. This is a prognosis and a very good index at that, right? That's about 3.5 years increment in the life expectancy of individuals across the low and middle income countries would be improved. This could be the reality of these countries if primary healthcare system is scaled up, if we have a running an updated system, if we have equipped primary healthcare systems across all the countries. And this is one goal the UN must seek to achieve, establishing equipped primary healthcare system, monitoring and ensuring that every primary healthcare system is active, right? Not just active, but also equipped with everything. And we'll come to see more things that entails a quality or an active primary healthcare facility. Right now, the majority of essential interventions for universal health coverage, about 90% of these interventions can be delivered using the primary healthcare approach. That's one of the ways, most times, right, we have interventions from UNICEF, from WHO, but they still don't get to these people. First, maybe perhaps due to lack of identification, but again, it could also be because of the skeletal, the system, the poor primary healthcare system we have. That if they are all functional, that's through this primary healthcare system that was designed to be rooted in every community. In every community is supposed to have a primary healthcare center. Now, if these systems are up and working, every intervention coming from the top is supposed to reach the poor. It's supposed to reach everybody everywhere. And so this is why we must ensure that the primary healthcare system is revitalized, rehabilitated, and the management is up and running to ensure that the aim of universal health coverage is achieved. Achieving the targets for primary health care requires an additional investment of around 200 to 348 US dollars. 200 to 348 billion US dollars, per year for a more comprehensive package of health service. To deliver on this promise, it is important that countries build strong, efficient, and equitable health systems that are rooted in the communities they serve. Primary health care is the most effective and cost-efficient way to achieve universal health coverage. As you've seen, by the goal, the idea behind primary health care, if it is upheld and instated, in every country, in every community, then universal health coverage would be achieved indeed. And so whatever factor there may be, corruptions and whatever factor would have hindered the quality or the up and running the system, the primary health system from maximizing or achieving its goal should be looked into. It should be highly considered and investigated and ensured that the system across every country is revitalized if universal health coverage is our focus by 2030, then this must be ensured. In investing in primary health care, it ensures that all those needs are identified, prioritized, and addressed in an integrated way. Because it is through these centers we get to have case reports. We get flags. People flag up different new cases, and so we get situations. We get reports from these primary health care systems that would inform us of the needs, the situation, right? The happenings in the health situation of every population, the happenings in every community. We are able to identify, then it becomes a priority, and then we address these issues through this primary health care system. So it's a very strategic system that also seeks to give us data that we can work with to advance and build a very robust and equipped health care system. Now, and that all sectors of the society contribute to confronting the environmental and socioeconomic factors that affect health and well-being through the primary health care system. Because through this system, we are able to improve through health education coming from primary health care centers. We'll be able to improve our environment. This would affect our life, our living, our health, thereby improving our productivity and our socioeconomic status. You see that some of the interventions, the contributions would also include preparing. Through the primary health care system, we're able to prepare, respond, and recover from emergencies as soon as possible. We are not expected to start preparing, but to be prepared. And that is why this system was adopted. The primary health care system is to be a response center. It's a system that is already incorporated in every community to be a response center, just as you have the fire service, right? The fire service that is situated in communities or in states or in regions or in countries, right? So you have that they are already been stated and reinforced to tackle fire issues, right? When they arise, they are already there and they are not built, they are not empowered when the fire starts. They are already empowered before the power. That is prevention. Right, so this primary health center is also a preventive. It also serves as a preventive modality or system that will tackle emergencies in any community. It should be the first point of call for outbreaks, right? And then in a situation where it exceeds the ability or capacity, the cases are referred. Now, another very vital component remains the health workforce. Because, of course, without the workforce, the system is, the workforce is I would even say, is the skeleton that the system puts its flesh on. Very important, right? So health systems can only function with health workers. WHO estimates a projected shortfall of 10 million health workers by 2030. This is very sad again, mostly in low income and lower to middle income countries. And this is the problem, that there's a projection, there's a prediction that there will be a shortfall with the current statistics they have, despite the lapses we have, despite the complaints of brain drain, despite the increased doctor to patient ratio, there is still such projection that about 10 million health workers there will still be a lack, there will still be a shortfall of about 10 million health workers in low to middle income countries. And we are saying that currently, these low to middle income countries are already suffering. They are already undergoing, the health workers in these countries are already overburdened. They are already overlabored, right? And there's a projection, because of course it's true. Nobody wants to be inconvenienced forever. Nobody would want to put up with so much burden and workload forever. And so people will keep migrating, keep looking for convenience wherever they can find it. And so such prediction is very true. Again, chronic underinvestment in health education and training of health workers in some countries, as well as poor working conditions, greatly contributes to the poor health system. This is very true. If the bakery where bread is being produced or the machines that produces the bread are not serviced, the bread would continue to lose quality and there'll always be an inadequacy or a lack of it. Right? So it's important that the manufacturer, the machines that produce those products are continually serviced and a good investment is made in them if the system must be sustained. If the system must be sustained, then the manufacturing machines, the manufacturing companies, right? I'm using a technical term to explain this, right? So they must be maintained. The schools where the health workers are produced from, the universities, must be maintained. There must be an investment to ensure an annual restocking, an annual release, an annual launch, an annual induction of new and more doctors into more health workers into the system. Now, it's not only about, when we talk about investment, it is not just to increase the number of health workers, but also to help improve the quality of health workers. Because remember, in our definition, we said that it is the ability or the state of providing quality healthcare. Quality. So it is quality doctors or quality health workers that can produce or provide quality health services. And so this is important. Investing in the system, in education, in the training of these health workers becomes becomes invaluable, very, very important. The problem of universal health coverage is compounded by difficulties in deploying health workers to rural, remote, and underserved communities. Again, of course, we see, because of many factors, some of which we include due to the lack of equipping of these primary healthcare centers or the health facilities in these rural areas, there is a withdrawal, right? There's a resentment to deployment in these facilities, right? People don't get cold feet to accept roles or responsibilities in these facilities. They don't want to go there. Nobody wants to go and work in a center where there's no scissors, there's no syringe, there's no plaster, there's no cutting wound. I mean, what can you do in such environments? What can you do in such situation? How can you help save lives? You are seeing problems, but you cannot intervene. So people, due to the lack of investment in the health sector, people get cold feet towards working or towards being deployed in this low resource setting. Underserved communities continue to undergo more and more challenges because of some of these reasons. Now, the increasing migration of health workers may exacerbate the health workforce shortfall, particularly in low-income countries. In Nigeria, we continue to see the increasing number of the JAPA, what they call JAPA, the health workforce, health workers generally, nurses, doctors, and the likes, continue to leave the country, continue to migrate for greener pastures. And this, of course, would truly prove the projection that there will be a 10 million shortfall by 2030 if this continues. And so some of the reasons why it is important, like I said, if we must achieve universal health coverage, it is important that some of these reasons why these health workers continue to migrate need to be looked into, because quality is of essence. Like I said, the health workers are the skeleton upon which the flesh of the system lies upon or lies on. Right? So it's important that we address it. The working conditions, the salaries, the payments, right? The equipping of the facilities, their security, all of it are put into cognizance and consideration and ensure that the health workers get they have good they're provided with a comfortable or a convenient environment, working condition for their operation. Now, let's look at some of the inequalities we see, right? Some of them include coverage of reproductive, maternal, child, and adolescent health services. Some of them include, sorry, let me take that again. Now, coverage of reproductive, maternal, child, and adolescent health services tend to be higher among those of richer, more educated, and those living in urban areas, especially in low-income countries. We see this more in low-income countries, even, that only the rich, the educated, have access, and nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about those, the uneducated. Nobody cares about the poor. They go more and they lack access because they don't even know what signs are important, what signs or what symptoms they should look out for because they're not exposed, they're not educated. That is one. So even for themselves to understand or even find out for themselves. And again, they don't have the opportunity to receive the awareness. The awareness is just only recycled in the urban areas. So we see more and more inequalities due to location differences, socioeconomic factor differences, and all of that. We see more and more of it as relating to reproductive, maternal, child, and adolescent healthcare. So little wonder why childhood mortality is on the rise, maternal mortality is on the rise because of this disparity. Not everybody is getting the information. If every mother is able to receive the education on the importance of breastfeeding, some of the services, the signs she look at for her child, I strongly believe maternal and childhood mortality would be on the decrease if every pregnant woman is being educated, if they can, those in the villages, those in the forests, those in the villages, the towns and the cities, local areas are able to receive quality health education on the signs they should look out for in pregnancy. I believe we'll be able to also reduce maternal mortality. So if they're able to access, based on their resources, good delivery centers, and not limited to maybe untrained or unskilled traditional birth attendants, maternal mortality again will still be reduced. So this inequality of location, socioeconomic factor, and education, and all of that continue to be on the rise. Here we see catastrophic out-of-pocket health spending more prevalent among people living in households with older members. How can we help them? Of course, it is true, because with age come their age-associated diseases. So a household that have 4 elderly people, of course, they would visit the hospital more than those that have a nuclear family with just a mother and a child and 2 children, right? So these are inequalities. These are inequalities still that must be addressed. And a recommendation would be that a health insurance scheme for household with greater than 1 or 2 elderly patients, greater than 1 elderly patient, a scheme should be provided for them. A health insurance scheme should be provided for them to enroll in, and the health costs be subsidized greatly through this insurance. Right? I believe there should be such policy or such scheme, such package to be created, such to be carved out for homes, households with more elderly people. Else, due to the constant or regular health visits following the elderly patient, their age, the caregivers will be pushed to poverty. And we have identified age as a disparity, and which must not be so. It is not a crime to be old. Everybody one day, if given the privilege, will become old. And some of these diseases are age associated. Is it now a crime to become old? Is it a crime to be a baby? right? So it should not be a factor. It should not be a reason. That's what we are saying. That it should not be a reason why you should not receive quality health care, right? So again, there were glaring disparities in access to COVID-19 vaccines. We saw that with an average of 34% of the population vaccinated in low-income countries as compared to 73% that were vaccinated in high-income countries as of June 2023. Now, this could be as a result of economic strength, right? Perhaps those high-income countries, as the name implies, were able to purchase, in fact, statistics say up to the 8 dose, right? While low-income countries were still struggling to purchase the first dose of this vaccine. How can we then achieve global health equity if interventions are distributed on the strength of economy? And that's what we are saying. Our recommendation, therefore, is that interventions such as this, because this was a pandemic, this was a global emergency, and should not be interventions, solutions should not be implemented, should not be distributed based on the financial strength of countries, because everybody everywhere were at risk of this virus. And so, knowing that there were factors such as low and high income countries, there were financial constraints in countries, knowing that some countries, not all countries, could meet up to the demand of providing providing the vaccines for their people, it was then expedient that a regulation was put in place to ensure that the low-income countries were still able to get required doses as at when needed, not considering their finances or their economic strength. That a subsidy could have been made for them, rather than opening it up to be a goods up for purchase, thereby putting the risks or putting the lives of the have-nots, those in the rural communities, those that could not access this thing, putting their lives at risk. That way, global health equity was at large. We cannot continue continue in that direction. And I've profiled a solution, like I said, that it should not be on the strength of people's economy. A subsidy would have been best at that time. That the lives of everyone was the focus here. And so looking at the financial strength was not the right call, but then looking at the lives, the importance of life, and how to get these services to them would have been the focus, a better focus, if I would say. Now, more recommendations to achieving universal health coverage in the aspect of financial protection is this, that financial protection is not guaranteed by participation in a health coverage scheme. However, evidence shows that more significant prepaid old compulsory payments are needed. Public health funding must increase further and be used more efficiently and effectively. Different revenue sources from NGOs, philanthropists, agencies must be pooled and better utilized and coordinated. The size of compulsory prepaid funds must be sufficient enough. Prepaid funds must be distributed, and coverage for medicines must be extended. This is very important. In summary of what you are saying here, or what we have said here, is that it is important that governments, countries begin to adopt compulsory payment for health, because somebody said that longevity is not only a gift, is not only a prayer point, not a wish. You must also plan if you will live long. Many people plan their budget, they plan every other thing except their life, except their health. Right? They plan every other thing except their health. And if you must live healthy, you must plan healthy. So show me the quality of your plan, the plan for your health, and I'll tell you how healthy you will live or how long you will live. Very important statement. Right? So it is important that health payment for health is not underlooked, is not overlooked, right? But seen as an essential component of every man's life, and therefore provisions for it to be made. And so compulsory payments should be a strategy that should be adopted in many countries, including Nigeria. that a token from everybody's income, right, be allocated or apportioned for their health care. Now, again, is that countries need to improve the allocation for health financing across board, across countries must be improved if universal health coverage would be achieved. Nigeria must move from 3.4 to and 6.24% to way up to 12 to 20% if possible, right? Which is possible. They must move up if the health coverage must improve. Again, monitoring and evaluation, as we come to see. More and more NGOs need to contribute and invest towards the healthcare of their countries, towards the healthcare of people, communities, right? NGOs could ensure communities. Philanthropists could pick up a community and ensure their health there, pay the premium and the cost, pay a token for their health. These are strategies that will help improve or advance our cost towards achieving universal health coverage. Now, let's move on. Again, very important, and lastly on this slide, is that the medicines must be extended. Currently, we run a very narrow system, the list of services provided under the health insurance in Nigeria is very narrow. And I believe that if we want to achieve universal health coverage, the medicines must be, the services must be extended, must be expanded. They must include more and more services that will be covered in the health insurance package for the individuals. This would help further reduce the out-of-pocket expenditure on health. If people are not fortunate, a man that has been paying his premium and finally develops a sickness, a disease that is not under the coverage, he may only benefit in some services, but the major cause of his problem was not covered, and so it's not beneficial to him. So to include or to help more and more people, to carry everybody along, it is important that the services, the package be extended and expanded, right? We must removing financial barriers to care reduces foregone care. Many people have very poor health service, seeking behavior because of the thought of the cost. When they think about the cost, go for a checkup, they let it go, right? And this was many cases have gone undiagnosed. Many people have presented in chronic stages, presented as emergencies due to some of these financial constraints, some of these financial barriers. Many cases that would have been picked in their pre-malignant, precancerous stages have been left to when they become malignant, right, because of financial reasons, as we see in low-income countries. And the current focus for achieving universal health coverage by 2030 is in the current meeting that was held, looks at achieving it through these three pathways, right? The first pathway is through advocacy. Next is alignment. The third is accountability, and we'll be looking at them very quickly. For advocacy talks about influencing decisions of political, economic, and social institutions to advance universal health coverage. Like I earlier said in the definition for global health, that it is global in its approach, that it is multidisciplinary, cut across different sectors, political, economic, and social. So in this advocacy strategy or pathway, we are looking at influencing political decisions, influencing financial and social institutions to driving their focus as their mandate. They begin to adopt policies and engage in services, in engagements that would promote or advance universal health coverage. All hands must be on deck. We must use, through this focus, we seek to align them. We'll come to that anyway. We want to improve awareness. We want to improve awareness. We want to advocate and bring their focus that they turn to drive this universal health coverage. They turn to advance course that we are currently driving, right? Now, universal health coverage 2030 focuses on compelling campaigns and coherent evidence-based communication on universal health coverage that places universality, equity, the right to health, and health security at the center. Some of the targets that we seek to achieve include: one, that universal health coverage is featured on the agendas of relevant global and regional political events, and all stakeholders are united to support universal health coverage 2030 evidence-based advocacy. That we advocate until the point where it becomes an agenda to improve advocacy engagement. Now, these are channels, I believe, as we discussed, you are beginning to see the role you can play. You are beginning to see where you can come in. And you can come in the area of advocacy, in advocating until it becomes the agenda, it becomes the topic of discussion in every global conference. And target 2 seeks to achieve that universal coverage 2030 advocacy and communication materials are used to inform relevant national and political processes and decisions. That when decisions we look at its alignment, we look at the decisions, the materials are consulted, that the targets before countries implement in the political sphere or sector, before they implement certain decisions, they look at its alignment with the universal health goal. That is what we want to achieve through our advocacy as a target 2. Looking at the next pathway, which is accountability, it talks about tracking the implementation of commitments to foster actions, decisions, policies, and programs for universal health coverage. So tracking the implementation, that's accountability, holding stakeholders responsible, tracking the progress, tracking expectation or progress over expectation. We have our goal very clear. We have the time. Our goals are SMART. They are specific, measurable, achievable, they are relevant, they are time-bound. We have set the time 2030. So we look at the progress we are making as compared to what we want to achieve, the goal we have set to achieve versus the progress. And this accountability, using evidence, including the global monitoring report on universal health coverage and consultations with stakeholders. Some of the targets for accountability include: number 1, that universal health coverage 2030, the UHC 2030 tracking tools are used by constituencies and partners to strengthen government accountability for implementing the commitments made at the 2023 UN high-level meeting on universal health coverage, and for translating global commitments into national actions. So we monitor, using the global monitoring report and the tracking tools, we monitor countries' implementation of the commitments that were made. Which countries are defaulting? What are the challenges? This is what the next point focuses on. Why are they not? Why are they? So the target again is to identify the evidence provided in UHC 2030 tracking tools is used by UHC 2030 constituencies and partners in political outreach and engagement, and to support countries to resolving barriers to progress on UHC. Now we are saying that we're able to identify the barriers, which countries are lagging behind, what are the challenges they are facing. That is accountability. They are being accountable. We are not dreaming, we are not assuming, we are not just sitting and crossing our hands and legs, we are not just hoping that the dreams will achieve themselves, but we are seeking to identify the challenges, the barriers, and then helping them by looking at how to advance it, how to intervene and make progress in that regard. As we begin to conclude, we look at the last pathway, which is alignment. Alignment talks about convening stakeholders to exchange information and elevate the importance of alignment with one national plan and of working within national structures to strengthen health systems. That we bring stakeholders together and ensure that their focus is to strengthen the health system in their countries. that a reasonable commitment is made with actions to prove, actions to show by every stakeholder within every region, every country, towards the achievement or strengthening of healthcare systems, including the primary healthcare systems we are talking about. Now, some of the targets that we measure as our index for success would be: one, the importance of aligning work, in particular for international funding. Its health system strengthening and UHC is featured prominently in collective advocacy and on global and regional agendas. Number two, the UHC 2030 constituencies have taken action to implement, to support alignment with the one national plan and government systems for public financial management and exchange information on their actions. That we bring them together. That we work as a syncytium. We work together. They exchange information, exchange ideas that stakeholders from political, economic, social institutions, the healthcare, exchange on it. We align them to a platform. We align them on a discussion table for all hands to be on deck, to exchange ideas, to discuss the way forward, to discuss roles and responsibilities, to discuss actions and where everyone can come in. We align their interests, we align their focus, we align their goal, their drive towards strengthening healthcare system, towards achieving universal health coverage by 2030. Now, let's look at the last aspect of this discussion. I believe you've gathered a lot of knowledge. Let's look at the last aspect, which is the role you and I can play in achieving universal health coverage. I would like to bring to your notice that in the year 2022, I was privileged to serve under the Nigerian Medical Students Association as the Standing Committee Director National for the Standing Committee on Policy Implementation, SCOPI, where I was privileged to collaborate with the Nigerian Health Insurance Authority. The project was approved by the DG, Professor M.N. Sambo. I want to sincerely appreciate him once again for that privilege. Now, the idea behind this project was we identified first the lack of awareness about the new program of the new project or package that was added to the NHIS that now made it NHIA, right, which is the gift sheet, which is group, individual, family, social health insurance package. This is a new package that was added to the health insurance program in Nigeria that expanded the health insurance to a group of people, could be a group of retirees, a group of whatever, a group of market women, business people, group of whatever, bike riders, motorcycle, whatever at all, right? So a group, individuals could come and enroll. A family of 3 to 5 could come and enroll, have their health insured, right? As opposed to the past, where it was only government, public workers that were opportune to enjoy this health insurance. So we discovered that the awareness was very poor to this new package that was added. And so who best would take this word to these communities, right? Who else will better bridge the gap of this lack of awareness rather than the healthcare professionals in training? So I got the initiative to involve the national presidents of allied medical students, talking about pharmacists, nurses, and medical laboratory scientist students, right, undergraduates, to partner in this certificate course where we are sensitized about the project. So the idea was that we received this sensitization, we received the sensitization, or we learn about NHIE and their project and their programs. and their mission, their vision, their goals, their packages, right, and how they operate, the services they cover, then these medical students across the country, Nigeria, will then take this information to the markets, to communities, to the hospitals, and influence the decisions of these people down there to enroll, thereby getting more full health insured. That was the basic idea behind this vision. And I'm proud to say at this point that we were able to record success, an overwhelming number of registered participants, and about 1,500 students across in Nigeria registered for this project or this program. And we are over 300 were fully certified as of the time of this discussion, right? Now, this is a good record, and they across countries, many people are still giving different talks, taking the word down there to the streets and communities on health insurance, particularly with its new project or program that was added to the scheme, which was initially health insurance scheme, right? So we have about over 300 ambassadors across the country currently that are spreading the word on health insurance, and this was our brainchild. This is a way through advocacy. So the idea is that they will become advocates, they will become ambassadors, taking the word of insurance, influencing philanthropists to participate, to register the health of communities, either in groups. We could gather retirees, we could gather traders and inform them after educating them on the benefits of health insurance. We then guide them because of this sensitization. Having been equipped with adequate knowledge about NHIA, we are now empowered to properly guide them to get their health insured. And I believe in a few months and years, the word would spread like wildfire, and it started from this project. Now, that again is a way youth can play a role. Now, again, they could work with local governments and NGOs as implementers in the fight for universal health coverage. They could partner with NGOs and local governments. I'm also a volunteer with the Plateau State Primary Healthcare Board in ensuring we take the word in every of their projects that they have. I try to partner with them through the African Public Health Student Network, where I currently serve as the Plateau State Volunteer Coordinator, right? The recent of which is which was the flagship of the HPV vaccine and cervical cancer awareness project in Plateau State. My team and I were able to reach above 1,200 students across 5 secondary schools on the plateau, where we educated them about the cervical cancer. We were able to tell them the mode of transmission, the risk factors, preventive measures, including a vaccine and its importance. We were able to debunk some myths and encourage them to take the vaccine, of which a good number of them did through our follow-up. Now, this again means that we could employ as youth to achieving or advancing, to play a role in universal health coverage. We could also advocate globally, ensuring government commitment to the policies they enact, hold them accountable in your little way, right? Now, we could also provide innovative solutions to health system gaps. As youth, we are endowed with creativity and innovations, and we could come up with ideas that could bridge so many health system gaps that we have in our country today. We could also build relationships with stakeholders and hold leaders accountable when they fail to deliver. We could foster initiatives that support health promotion, prevention, palliative care, and rehabilitation services. In conclusion, where someone lives should never determine if they live. Very profound. And although sickness is universal, health sadly isn't. But I assure you, it can be. My name remains Elefachivi Kochikoemeka. I'm a public health enthusiast, and I really enjoyed myself in this discussion. I want to once again thank Adeyinka Adegoke, and his wonderful InStride Pathway Youth Foundation team that have continually and relentlessly looked for ways to advance the SDGs, mobilizing the youth across Africa in doing so. I'm really honored to have been invited, and I hope this was an insightful discussion for everyone. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye for now.